I'm probably going to make a more thought out version of this later to go on the YouTubes, but just in case this clip ends up on the YouTubes, I want to say this right now to commenters around the world. If you have a problem with Kendrick accepting or hearing any sort of criticism or critique, just leave now. Just leave now. I think that this performance was mostly awesome, but I do not, however, believe that it was perfect. And so, as much as I'll be heaping praise on this, because I do think it was amazing. If you're the kind of person who only wants to hear people say things are amazing, this is not the clip for you. It's not for you. Is what I'll say right now, just to get ahead of it. I had a lot of thoughts. At the end of the show, I was like, wait a minute, what are these patterns on the field here? So he has a square, a triangle, a circle, and an X. So I'm like, oh, this is like a PlayStation controller. So that was already interesting. Him choosing to divide the field into these shapes, and these shapes are the PlayStation buttons. Now, I loved Sam Jackson as Uncle Sam. I think that was an excellent touch. Now, one thing I'll say that's interesting here, too, because right now I'm listening through headphones. And listening through headphones, I can hear his vocals much clearer than I could when I was watching it on television. When I was watching it on television, I felt like the vocals were super buried in the mix. And I didn't know if that was intentional at all, because it doesn't seem to me like he used any sort of backing track for his vocals. He seemed to perform it all. So he's got a live mic. And I wondered if that was somehow a negotiation with the production team of the Super Bowl, that if his mic was going to be live, that it was going to be tucked. But it sounds so much clearer in the headphones, so I'm not even sure they were mixing for exactly. So many dudes came out of this car. This is like they did the old circus trick. They pulled a bunch of dudes out of the car. It was so many, and that was the first shot where you saw the bell bottoms, boot cut, flare leg jeans, and I don't like that. I'm just gonna get in front of that right now and let all of y'all know, as I said last night on the social media too. I feel like all of this would have been better if he had a different pair of pants on. All of it. I was not a fan of the bell bottoms. This is just me personally, okay? And again, I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum, but for me it was an odd choice, and it was quite distracting. It was quite distracting. See, the thing about me is I don't know if this was just a Chicago thing, Midwest thing, I don't know. But those pants remind me of when that style came back in style around like the late 90s, early 2000s. And it reminds me of people that I didn't like being around. I didn't like being around people who wore the bell bottoms. So it's like, to me, it's just a bad association and a weird look, considering I haven't really seen a man casually dressed in bell bottoms or flare legs or boot cut, whatever you want to call them. I haven't seen that in a very long time. It's a very long time. So to me, it was a weird association, and I personally wish they had made a different pants choice. I mean, them things was flaring. Look at them. It's crazy. Like elephant legs. Those are some bells. Like, you'd be worried walking through the rain in those. You know, you'd be worried that the bottom of your pants are getting wet. Oh, they already haunt my dreams. Malcolm Spoon asked how much of my criticism is the pants legs. A fair amount. A fair amount. I mean, I think that my main points of where I felt like it could have been improved was mostly the sound. I had a lot of issues with the sound watching it, because Kendrick Lamar is a lyrical rapper. Typically, this has not been a forum for lyrical rappers. He packs a lot of lyrics into each bar. And for me, there were a lot of choices to be made on how impactful these lyrics were going to be, in terms of room to be emphasized in the mix and in the visuals. And I guess, to me, if the sense that I got was that a lot of the lyrics in the songs were not the focus. And just from a lyrical rap standpoint, that sort of bugged me. But there's another thing to be said here too. This is sort of phase one of the performance. And as he ratchets it up, I do think that he gets a bit more emphatic on the microphone and the lyrics start cutting through better, especially when he gets to doing that one song. The other thing I was noting early on here is, much like in a Squabble Up video, he wasn't making a lot of eye contact. In this first part of the performance, and I'll be watching back here to make sure, but I felt like he was doing sort of the same thing in this early part of the performance. Right, Brillers, he does look directly at the camera later, which to me, I feel like these early moments of intentionally looking away from the camera sort of set that up, which to me is like, that's brilliant stagecraft the entire way. I love the symmetry of a lot of the visual choreography here. And I gotta say the mix is much better in headphones. And I'm not sure, somebody in the chat said that this being a video on demand, this is an after recording, that maybe the levels got changed a little bit too. I don't know if they sound different to anyone else, but this is much easier to hear than when I was watching it live yesterday on television. See, I love this shit. And when I do my full little mini thesis on this on YouTube later, I'm really going to dig into this Uncle Sam stuff because I think this is fucking brilliant. But I'm going to do more on that when I got time to organize my thoughts. The performance starts to get a little bit more intense after that, which again, I think that's fucking brilliant. And one thing to note too, and I apologize, I am going to keep stopping this a lot. One thing that's important to note that did come out of his pre-halftime show interview a couple days ago is that PG Lang, Kendrick and Dave Free's production company, completely produced this halftime show. So this wasn't like in association with the NFL or Jay-Z or having brought any other people in. This is from Kendrick and Dave Free's mind, and they produced it and executed it, of course, in accordance with the NFL production team. But just know, and I think it's important to know, this is all them. I love this when he came forward into the camera. That's a good point too. With the flare legs, he could have bust his ass going across that little corridor like that. But also to note, especially from the top down view, that was an artful way for him to get from one set that they had set up to the next set. And I love how they had the camera follow him going forward. Another thing that I got to note too, just from an MC standpoint, because again, to me, it seems like he's doing all of this with no backing track. This is all live vocals from him. The wind necessary for him to do all of this rapping with all of these lyrics and all of this choreography, as even as minimal as a lot of his movement is, this is extraordinary in terms of a rapper's lung capacity and cardio. It's incredible. Most rappers would have been bent over throwing up already, and this is only a third of the way through the thing. Now he's getting to breathe a little bit. I love this fucking shot. So look, one thing that I've noticed over the years with Super Bowl performances is how they have sort of evolved from being spectacles mostly for the people in attendance, and now they're turning into full-on like television performances. I'm noticing the same thing in like award show performances. There's much more like cinematography right now. It's much more like, okay, they create a series of shots and they have this entire stage to work with in terms of it being a football field, but the whole thing is set up as like a series of vignettes that's playing to the television audience. And I think that this performance in particular does that brilliantly. Like that they could make the middle of a football field feel like a street corner. Y'all know what song this is? I don't know what song this is, so I didn't know what line he censored there. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that song. Oh, that's off GNX, Man at the Garden. So what was that line? I wonder what that was that he couldn't say that. You think he was just breathing? I mean, it certainly felt like an intentional line to even choose that one to breathe on. Though, oh, so that the lame can speak. I see. So then it's an artistic one to pause on. I get it. That makes sense. Thank you, Foo Dog. Culture cheat code. That is a culture cheat code, though. Like, that's real as hell. Like, that is the shorthand language of hip hop culture, is to have a bunch of people that look like you together. That's why there's so many album covers with like one central rapper and a bunch of dudes from the hood behind him. Like, that is the hood shorthand. So it's so interesting that they would have their in-performance narrator call that out. That's so interesting. I like this song a lot. Peekaboo is growing on me on GNX.
I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they love to sue.
Now, see, this is crazy too, right? Because what has everybody been talking about for months? Ever since this performance was announced, what has everybody been talking about for months? Is he going to do Not Like Us as part of this Super Bowl halftime show? And they even wrote it into the narrative that he wants to. Oh, let's rewind this a little bit. I want to perform their favorite song, but I know they love to sue. Now, that might have been a change to the script after the lawsuits came out. But it's crazy that they put that into the narrative, and he starts teasing it. But the interesting thing about that too, though, is what that reflects to me is that however serious or however playful, what I take from that is that there was a little bit of a question, a little bit of a reluctance, a little bit of an internal struggle on whether or not he should do that song. To me, I feel like that's part of what's playing out a little bit too. But that gets at my overall assessment of what they were trying to do here, which is, again, is a bunch of thoughts I need to write out for a thought out video. I do think that part was lip sync. And he was doing like the fake Doom I saw when I saw the fake Doom, where you couldn't really see the mic behind his mouth. And there wasn't any other part of Kendrick's performance where he was making sure you couldn't see his mouth. It's all stagecraft. I ain't mad at it at all. I tweeted yesterday that this was the hip hop cremaster cycle. So have fun with that. Anybody who gets that joke, have fun with it.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's interesting. Odie, who is that in the chat just said that? D Bits in the chat said, notice how they're walking static in line for the part that Uncle Sam approves of. That's a bar. That's a bar. I didn't peep that before. Really like that meta commentary. Oh, that smile. You know he's about to get sinister now. I like the way of censoring where you just stretch the syllable before out. Score. I like the entire crowd. All of them beer drinking, tailgating Eagles fans and corporate folks that got flown in by the companies on MasterCard Gold Express cards. Everybody, all of them people, the players, the staff, the coaches, the trainers, the cheerleaders, all of them, everybody in there said A minor. And you got Serena crip walking, looking dead at the camera during Not Like Us. I'm talking about, and this is a cold crip walk too. This is a crip walk murderers do. This isn't the cool double dutch, nice kids playing on the street crip walk. This is a graveside crip walk.
I go by the name of K. Kendrick.
He owed me $200 for saying K. I gave him that. Did he ever say K. before me? Huh? Did he? I would like to see proof. If not, he watched my video and he took my dot, the extra dot I gave him, and I want 150. I'll take 150. Yep, I'll be next in line to sue. Still in my name that I gave him. That was my joke. Yeah, see, he losing his breath right now, but still, most other rappers would be dead by now. So the fact that he is just now starting to have any trouble with wind is amazing. And he's still hitting every syllable at the right pitch too. He just don't have the same amount of exhale behind it as he did before. But it's still, this is an absolutely stellar example of breath control. I've never seen nothing like it.
Turn this TV off. Turn this.
Oh, there it is. I just couldn't see it. It's dim. Felt brighter when I saw it last night. That's weird. So that was the performance. And I'm gonna say this too later in the video that I write about it. I think, to me, this hit like if they had went and hired Jordan Peele to produce them a halftime show, it would have felt like that. Like, the entire thing seemed to tell a story, and in a lot of ways, it's the real life story of what Kendrick would do with this sort of opportunity, given who he is, what he represents, and what this thing is supposed to be. And it sort of deals with the idea that how he got there was releasing this song that's a rap battle song that's calling a dude like all of that story seems to be in the story of the performance, not only because it's a narrative, but because it seems so deliberately split up into very intentional cinematography and symbolism and rising action, falling action. It felt very much like it was a film director producing this. I got like sharp Jordan Peele vibes, but I'm gonna put all that. I'm gonna organize all of my thoughts and speak to all of that probably later today.